There are moments in life when you begin to realize that you were never meant to see the world the way everyone else sees it. You look around and notice that people are reacting to words while you are reacting to intentions. They hear what is being said, but you hear what is being hidden. They follow the surface, but your attention keeps diving beneath it. And for years, this difference may have felt like a burden. It may have felt like confusion. It may have felt like isolation. But what if that difference is not a weakness? What if it is the very thing that makes you powerful? What if the traits you spent years trying to suppress are actually signs of a rare gift that allows you to perceive reality in a way that most people never will? Today, we are exploring 7 signs that you may be what many call a Heyoka, an empath whose strength comes not from fitting into the world, but from seeing through it. Whether you view the idea symbolically, spiritually, or psychologically, these signs point toward a person who challenges illusions, exposes hidden truths, and transforms the energy of every room they enter. The first sign is that you naturally disrupt patterns without trying. Everywhere you go, routines begin to change. Conversations take unexpected turns. People start questioning beliefs they have held for years. You are not necessarily seeking conflict. You are not trying to start revolutions. Yet somehow your presence alone creates movement. This happens because you have an unusual sensitivity to contradictions. When people say one thing but mean another, you notice. When organizations claim one set of values but practice another, you notice. When someone is living a life that does not align with their deepest truth, you notice. And your awareness acts like a mirror. The moment others stand in front of that mirror, they can no longer ignore what they see. Some people appreciate this, others resist it, but either way, change begins. The second sign is that people reveal things to you that they never planned to reveal. Have you ever noticed how strangers tell you their life stories? Have you ever experienced someone sharing secrets within minutes of meeting you? There is a reason for that. People can sense when they are being genuinely seen. Most interactions in modern life are filtered through judgment, performance, and expectation. But when someone encounters a person who sees beneath those layers, the walls begin to drop. The hidden emotions start rising to the surface. The truth wants to be known. You become a safe space for authenticity, even when you never asked for the role. This ability is not about manipulation. It is about presence. It is about creating an environment where honesty becomes easier than pretending. The third sign is that you often feel like an outsider, even when surrounded by people. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the journey. Many powerful empaths spend years believing something is wrong with them because they never fully identify with the crowd. They can participate, they can socialize, they can contribute. Yet deep inside, there is always a sense that they are observing from a different vantage point. The reason is simple. When your attention naturally moves beneath appearances, it becomes difficult to fully invest in superficial games. You stop measuring people by status. You stop measuring yourself by approval. You become more interested in truth than popularity. And while that path can feel lonely at times, it is also the path that leads to clarity. The fourth sign is that you possess an unusual relationship with emotional energy. Walk into a room after an argument, and you feel the tension before anyone speaks. Meet someone carrying hidden grief, and you sense the weight they are carrying. Enter an environment filled with excitement, and your energy rises with it. This sensitivity can be overwhelming when it is unmanaged. It can leave you exhausted, confused, and emotionally overloaded. But when you learn to understand it, it becomes one of your greatest strengths. You stop absorbing everything around you and start interpreting it. You realize that emotions are information. They are signals. They are clues that help you understand what is happening beneath the surface of human behavior. The fifth sign is that you challenge people simply by being yourself. There are individuals who will feel inspired by your presence, and there are others who will feel uncomfortable. The uncomfortable ones are often reacting to something within themselves. Your authenticity highlights the areas where they are still pretending. Your honesty highlights the areas where they are still hiding. Your courage highlights the areas where they are still afraid. This does not make you better than anyone else. It simply means that authenticity has a powerful effect. It creates contrast, it forces choices, it invites growth, and growth is rarely comfortable. The sixth sign is that your greatest lessons often come through adversity. Many people who identify with this path describe periods of intense challenge. They faced rejection. They faced misunderstanding. They faced situations that seemed unfair and impossible. Yet when they look back, they discover that those very experiences shaped their strength. Adversity stripped away illusions. It revealed priorities. It forced them to develop resilience. The storms did not destroy them. The storms introduced them to themselves. Every challenge became a teacher. Every setback became training. Every obstacle became proof that they were capable of more than they once believed. The seventh sign is that you feel driven toward truth no matter the cost. This is perhaps the defining characteristic. You cannot comfortably live inside a lie. You cannot ignore what your intuition keeps pointing toward. Even when truth creates uncertainty, even when it requires change, even when it demands courage, something inside you keeps moving in that direction. This drive becomes the compass of your life. It guides your decisions. It shapes your relationships. It influences your purpose. It reminds you that comfort and growth are rarely found in the same place. Now consider what these signs have in common. They are not about supernatural powers. They are not about superiority. They are not about being chosen above others. They are about awareness. They are about perception. They are about developing the courage to see clearly in a world that often rewards illusion. The real power is not in reading minds. The real power is understanding human nature. The real power is recognizing patterns before they become problems. The real power is remaining authentic in environments that encourage conformity. The real power is becoming a source of clarity when others are lost in confusion. If these signs resonate with you, then perhaps your task is not to become someone different. Perhaps your task is to stop apologizing for who you already are. Stop shrinking your awareness to make others comfortable. Stop doubting every instinct simply because it cannot be explained. Stop assuming that your sensitivity is a flaw. The qualities that once made you feel different may be the same qualities that allow you to create change, inspire growth, and help others discover truths they could not see alone. The world does not need more people who blindly follow the crowd. The world needs people willing to question assumptions. It needs people willing to look deeper. It needs people willing to bring honesty into places filled with pretense. And if you recognize yourself in these signs, then remember this. Your strength does not come from controlling others. It comes from understanding them. It does not come from being feared. It comes from being aware. It does not come from standing above people. It comes from helping them see what they could not see before. That is the power of perception. That is the power of truth. And that is the power that has been within you all along. The moment a person begins to understand the depth of their own perception, a new challenge appears. At first, the struggle is seeing what others cannot see. Later, the struggle becomes learning what to do with that awareness. Knowledge without wisdom becomes a burden. Insight without direction becomes frustration. This is why so many highly perceptive individuals spend years feeling disconnected from their own potential. They recognize patterns. They understand motives. They sense emotional undercurrents. Yet they often wonder why life still feels complicated. The answer is that awareness is only the beginning. Mastery comes when awareness is transformed into action. One of the greatest misconceptions about powerful empaths is that they move through life untouched by negativity. The opposite is often true. They encounter deception more clearly. They recognize manipulation more quickly. They notice emotional tension long before anyone else acknowledges it. Imagine walking through a world where hidden agendas are easier to detect and unspoken emotions are impossible to ignore. That level of perception can become exhausting if it is not balanced by wisdom. The challenge is learning that not every truth requires a response. Not every battle requires participation. Not every problem requires your intervention. Many people spend their lives reacting to everything they see. The strongest among them learn the discipline of observation. They understand that seeing something clearly does not always mean acting immediately. Sometimes the highest form of intelligence is patience. Sometimes the greatest display of strength is restraint. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. This is difficult because awareness naturally creates urgency. When you notice a problem, you want to solve it. When you see someone making a mistake, you want to warn them. When you recognize an unhealthy pattern, you want to expose it. Yet experience teaches an important lesson. People rarely change because they are forced to. They change because they become ready. This lesson transforms the way you interact with the world. Instead of trying to convince everyone, you begin to focus on understanding them. Instead of arguing endlessly, you learn to ask better questions. Instead of forcing insight onto people, you create opportunities for discovery. You realize that genuine transformation cannot be imposed from the outside. It must emerge from within. The role of a perceptive individual is not to control another person's journey. The role is to illuminate possibilities. There is another challenge that often emerges on this path. It is the tendency to carry responsibilities that do not belong to you. Sensitive people frequently mistake compassion for obligation. They feel the pain of others so deeply that they begin treating every problem as their own. They become rescuers. They become fixers. They become emotional caretakers for everyone around them. At first, this may seem noble. It may even earn appreciation, but eventually it creates exhaustion. You cannot carry the weight of every person you encounter. You cannot solve every crisis. You cannot heal every wound. True compassion is different. True compassion allows you to care without becoming consumed. It allows you to support without surrendering yourself. It allows you to help while still maintaining healthy boundaries. This distinction changes everything. The moment you understand it, your energy begins returning to you. You stop pouring from an empty cup. You stop sacrificing your well-being in an attempt to save everyone else. You realize that your responsibility is not to carry the world. Your responsibility is to contribute your best to it. Another powerful sign of heightened awareness is the ability to recognize masks. Every person wears them. Some masks are created for protection. Others are created for approval. Some are designed to hide insecurity. Others are designed to project strength. Most people spend their lives interacting with these masks. They form relationships with personas. They respond to performances. But highly perceptive individuals often find themselves drawn beyond the surface. They become curious about the person beneath the image. They want to understand what drives behavior, what creates fear, what inspires courage, and what shapes identity. This ability can be both fascinating and challenging. It reveals dimensions of people that others never notice. It allows deeper connections. It creates empathy, yet it also exposes contradictions. You begin seeing the gap between who people pretend to be and who they truly are. Sometimes that gap is small. Sometimes it is enormous. The key is remembering that everyone is navigating their own struggles. The goal is not judgment. The goal is understanding. One of the most remarkable developments on this journey is the realization that your greatest power may not be perception itself. Your greatest power may be self-awareness. Many people can analyze others. Far fewer can analyze themselves. Many can identify weaknesses in the people around them. Far fewer can confront their own blind spots. The path toward mastery requires both. It requires the courage to turn the mirror inward. This process is not always comfortable. In fact, it can be one of the most difficult experiences a person ever undertakes. Self-awareness reveals patterns you would rather ignore. It exposes fears you would rather avoid. It highlights habits that no longer serve you, but it also unlocks growth. Every honest observation becomes an opportunity. Every weakness becomes a lesson. Every limitation becomes a doorway. As this process continues, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop defining yourself by the opinions of others. This does not mean becoming arrogant. It does not mean rejecting feedback. It means understanding that your worth cannot be determined by external approval. The opinions around you become information rather than commands. Praise no longer controls you. Criticism no longer destroys you. You become anchored within yourself. This inner stability creates a profound shift in the way you move through life. Decisions become clearer. Relationships become healthier. Priorities become more focused. Instead of chasing validation, you pursue alignment. Instead of asking what others expect from you, you ask what is true for you. Instead of building a life designed to impress people, you begin building a life designed to reflect your values. And that is where genuine influence begins. Many people think influence comes from charisma, status, or authority. Those qualities can certainly attract attention, but lasting influence comes from authenticity. People are drawn to those who embody what they believe. They trust those whose actions match their words. They respect those who remain grounded under pressure. Authenticity creates credibility. Credibility creates trust. Trust creates impact. The world is filled with noise. Opinions compete for attention. Trends rise and disappear. Narratives change constantly. In such an environment, authenticity becomes increasingly valuable. It becomes a rare signal in a sea of distractions. It becomes a source of stability in a culture of uncertainty. It becomes a reminder that truth still matters. Perhaps that is why deeply perceptive individuals often leave a lasting impression on others. They remind people of something they have forgotten. They remind them that beneath every role, every title, every achievement, and every fear, there exists an authentic self waiting to be expressed. Sometimes a single conversation can awaken that realization. Sometimes a single question can change the direction of a life. Think about the people who have impacted you most. Chances are it was not because they had all the answers. Chances are it was because they helped you discover your own. They challenged assumptions, they encouraged growth, they expanded perspective. They created a space where honesty became possible. That is the true power of awareness. It does not dominate, it illuminates. As you continue forward, remember that perception is not the destination. It is the beginning. Awareness opens the door, but character determines what happens next. Wisdom determines how insight is applied. Discipline determines whether potential becomes reality. Courage determines whether truth is followed when it becomes inconvenient.